Springer versus Proximus. If the Cold War turns hot as Zertonia invades Agorria, unity will be achieved by any means necessary. But what is Scutzoid's plan? Presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed by Image Comics, Void Rivals, Volume 1, Issue 22, The Energon Universe. Having followed the Quintesson cruiser back to Quintessa, Pythona and the Corbala Royal Guards watch as dozens of other cruisers descend upon the planet. Pythona orders Viperia to wait until the last ship lands before striking so they can avoid detection. She then goes to check on Grakula only to discover that her organic armor has been mutated into a strange new shape. Believing it to be overtaking her, Pythona attacks, but Grakula urges her to stop explaining that the armor was only startled by Pythona's action. The armor then detaches, crawling off of Grakula. Though uncertain about what is happening, Grakula realizes the armor is becoming something more and has even begun speaking to her. Pythona argues that they should just destroy it before it grows too strong, but Grakula insists it means no harm. We last saw the Cobra crew following the Quintessons to their homeland in issue 17. Grakula's armor has been mutating due to the influence of the mysterious green crystal taken from the eye of their Leviathan in issue 14. As Zertonia troops pour into Agoria, Proximus attacks Springer. Proximus and Springer previously fought in issue 9 and 12. Springer says, "Oh man, here we go. Hot Rod, look away." Hot Rod is shocked that Proximus is attacking the Autobot. Springer continues, "The little guy almost beat me a while back until I chopped off an arm and a leg, which apparently have grown back." As the fight continues between Springer and Proximus, Springer uses his sword to try to injure him again. Proximus says, "I am certain you detect no fear in my voice, Green Titan." Solia says, "Who ordered this attack? This folly undermines my sacred charge. I am here on the behalf of Zerta herself. Stand down." Doolin replies, "Ground troops en route. They will touch down in moments. Our forces will be fully mobilized and ready to aid in your aerial attack." Dirac says, "There, finally." In response, Doolin mobilizes a platoon of Agorrian guardsmen. All hell breaks loose as the two armies converge. The Agorrians and the Zertonians clash, fighting and killing each other with no sign of unity. Tanks and aerial units join the battle as Proximus and Springer continue their fight. Proximus fires a massive laser shot at Springer, knocking him to the ground, but Dirac saves him by directing an attack at Proximus. Springer says, "Good looking out, Dirac," as both of them give a thumbs up. Solia is confused as to why the Zertonians would attack now, confronting Proximus and demanding to know what's going on, since an attack from Zertonia could jeopardize her diplomatic efforts for unity. Proximus says, "I'm here by Zalek's command, and we have both bathed in the light of Zerta. Our purpose is divine. We too strive for unity, but we know it can only be achieved through subjugation. The Agorrians will never yield to us. They have hated us for far too long." Proximus continues, "With this Energon, we have the means to defeat them. We must act now while they are unprepared. For too long they have seen us as weak, but look around you. Look at this show of strength. How can you not regard our newfound glory with pride?" Soli remarks, "You always were too far, too easily intoxicated by power." Proximus responds, "Why do you act as if you know me? I don't recall encountering you before, hunting you down in the wasteland." Solia says, "And that is the tragedy of us." The two then begin to battle. Proximus declares, "I care not for your riddles. If you stand against us, you will fall." Solia replies, "So you say." Solia was first hinted to have had a history with Proximus in issue 8. The battle continues as Solia and Proximus trade blows, seemingly at a standoff. Prime Minister Doolin commands, "Assemble 4 more platoons of Agorrian guardsmen and ready the jump. Jets stationed in a tentacle dish just in case. We have not faced a direct assault like this in recent memory. We must prove to our people that our defenses will hold. Long live Agoria." As Doolin escalates the war effort, the Agorians cheer, "Long live Agoria." On the Scutzoid asteroid base, Scutzoid Alpha reveals to the sacred Scutzoid that based on his robot's examination, he is considered the first Scutzoid division. Scutzoid Beta Beta balks at this claim, but is quickly silenced by Alpha with the threat of physical force. Alpha then inquires about the Rockeroid, which was intended to be the flagship of a fleet of vehicles culled from the asteroid base. As Alpha speaks, Beta begins to realize the truth in his words and understands why his memories of his family, or rather Alpha's memories of his family, are so vivid. When Beta asks if they are present, Alpha curtly states that his family is not to be spoken of. Nevertheless, Beta pleads to learn what happened to them. Alpha orders his robots to take Beta to the divider despite Beta's protests and desperate questions about his family. It was first hinted that something had happened to Scutzoid's family when Skuxxoid Beta returned home in issue 9. When he suddenly remembered, his relapsing memory was revisited in issue 14, and this issue finally clarifies that his memory stems from the residual memories of Scutzoid Alpha. While the Agorrians and Zertonians continue to fight, Proximus is impressed by Solia's new abilities. Solia received these powers as part of her upgrade from Zertonia in issue 18. Hot Rod says, "Look at what you dragged us into." Springer replies, "Okay, pal, you get one, add one in the reckless column from me. Remind me again, how's your column looking?" Hot Rod responds, "Fair point," as Derek blasts down a squadron of aircraft with his team. The Agorrians and Zertonian battle it out on the field with tanks and soldiers, but thanks to Dirac and his team, air superiority belongs to the Agorrians. As the fight continues, Dirac says, "Okay, everyone looks like this job is far from over." Proximus declares, "You're fighting on the wrong side," while Springer drives through the Zertonian ranks. Prime Minister Doolin says, "We're turning the tide. I can feel it." And Hot Rod adds, "Demolition Derby, good idea." However, just as the Agorrians begin to turn the tide against their invaders, the mindsets of all the Sacred Ring inhabitants begin to glow, causing them immense pain. The mind eyes of the Agorrians and Zertonians were first named and revealed to be Energon ports in issue 10. On both sides, soldiers tear off their helmets and clutch their heads in agony. Prime Minister Doolin screams, "Nobody move, what's happening?" As he writhes in pain, Hot Rod is confused, and Springer explains that they all have Energon ports in their heads, speculating that something is causing them to malfunction. Dirac is in no such pain that he is forced to land before he crashes. Proximus falls to his knees and cries out in glory, "Unity, it begins!" as Solia winces in pain. Next, presented by Skybound Entertainment, distributed by Image Comics, Void Rivals, Volume 1, Issue 23, The Energon Universe.